As social animals, we humans have a powerful urge to belong, to feel attached to others in close relationships. What does fitting in mean to you?
Growing taller.
It means looking good.
Being friends with people that have the same likes as you do.
To blend in.
Having a lot of friends.
Being friends with everyone.
Not worrying what others think of you.
Wearing plaid.
Staying true to who you are.
In my rearview, I watch you watching.
How you fit in, each person does that differently.
Everyone wants to belong, whether it's at school, work, through social networking, or with your friends. We set out to find exactly what fitting in means as we grow up and discover who we are. According to social psychologist David Myers, the need to belong colors our thoughts and emotions. People spend much time thinking about their actual and hoped-for relationships. To win friendship and esteem, we monitor our behavior hoping to create the right impressions. Seeking love and belonging, we spend billions on clothes, cosmetics, and diet and fitness aids, all motivated by our quest for acceptance.
Here, this map is going to be your guide to North Shore. Now, where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial because you got everybody there. You got your freshmen, ROTC guys, preps, JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts, and the worst, beware of the plastic.
There's like cooler lunch tables than others, like people think more popular kids sit at one lunch table than others. Just because of how they dress and just because they're pretty, so people like them.
Do you think bad boys have a popular crowd?
Football players.
Beginning with our infant attachments, we humans have a deep need to belong. We found that the most important thing about fitting in for younger age groups was having the right group of friends. At elementary school age, cliques begin to emerge as they begin to recognize their differences and establish their personalities.
Now, when we get into the school age, that's where things kind of start to change. That's anywhere from between the age of 6 and 11, so they're your typical school age, and that's where you're just trying to fit in with the school setting.
I think fitting in is about like being with your friends and being who you are, and it's not about being so popular, and it's for you to be nice and not try to be somebody else. To not like stand out.
Well, my mom told me before I went to school, be yourself, and that's usually how friends will attract to you. And I was like, okay, I'll try to do that, and that's what I did.
I think it means to fit in, just being able to have friends that accept you for who you are, and not friends who think you're cool because you have a swimming pool in your backyard, just friends who think you're cool because you are who you are and you don't really need anyone else.
Well, I think that actually kind of means different for different people. For some people, it just means that you have a whole bunch of people who just like you. Then for other people, it means you have friends who like you, and friends who you think are, and friends who think that you're a good person.
Do you think you have a lot of friends?
Yeah. Grades are more important, and
okay.
Because school comes before friends.
Trying to fit in with the rules, the legal system, everything that they're taught. And so a lot of times you're going to hear students in that stage, take everything that their teachers say verbatim.
Being with your friends and having friends. It doesn't really matter how many friends you have.
Why is that?
Because having one good friend is just as good as having 10 not so good friends.
As teens become young adults, they begin to change their previously held views of what fitting in means to them. As adolescents, they struggle to separate from parents and to find their own personal sense of self. Fitting in is still prevalent throughout teen years. However, they understand that as they mature, their definition of fitting in is likely to change with them.
If you think about elementary school, everyone's friends with everybody. There's not really a big difference, but as you get older and more diverse within yourself, you develop new likes and dislikes, and therefore that's what creates the different separate groups within a school system. But then once you get out of school, you meet with certain people, and you meet with these same people all the time, rather than when you're at school, you're with if you're here, you see a couple thousand people here a day, whereas once you get out of high school, once you get out of college, you see maybe 50 people on a consistent basis. Therefore, if you feel comfortable with them, you don't need to change, and therefore you stay the same for the longest time.
When I think of fitting in, I think of the stereotypical things like the right clothes, the right friends, the right attitude.
I think people fit in based with other people that have similar viewpoints and similar likes and dislikes, and therefore there's different groups and different societies within a school building, such as the jocks, the nerds, the popular girls and the not popular girls, stuff like that. There's different groups just based on who each person's comfortable with.
To me, fitting in is just wanting to be accepted by others and not feel like people are judging you.
I think it's better to stand out and stay true to yourself, because as you get older you find people in life who are just like you and who will like you for who you are and not have to impress everyone.
Belonging to a group of people and feeling comfortable with everyone. As people grow older, I think that fitting in becomes less important.
Sometimes you switch groups because like maybe you play one sport and you're friends with those people, then you switch to a different sport and then you become friends with them.
Able to stay like true to yourself and like not have to feel like the peer pressure of others, and be able to overcome the peer pressure and be who you want to be and be able to like live happily in society.
I can think of when I was in high school, you wanted to go along with what everybody else thought.
In adulthood, the main focus shifts to work and family. One may struggle with balancing both due to the fact that they are adjusting to a completely different lifestyle. They are figuring out what kind of human being they are striving to become. Being respected by their boss and coworkers is how adults fit in at the workplace. Adults are less likely to conform to social norms, yet they still want to be highly regarded by others.
Your focus would be your career, your family. So more so is that acceptance into your working environment. So acceptance from your peers in that environment, as well as from your superiors, your boss, and things like that. Because usually in any working environment, you have an evaluation of sorts, and so you want to do well. So again, it's almost kind of reverting back to the early stages of childhood where you're trying to fit in with the school environment. It's kind of like almost like the same school of thought. They're trying to fit into your work environment.
Probably peer pressure and pressure to fit in and be who they think everybody else thinks they ought to be and what they think people ought to be. There's family pressure and work pressure. Just not comfortable in their own skin, I think, sometimes too. I think we don't know what we want to be, so it's hard then when other people put qualifications on us. We think those are what we ought to be instead of what we really think maybe we're supposed to be.
Yes, as adults, we still kind of worry what other people are going to think. Maybe not so much what they're going to say. I think adults aren't going to say things as much, but definitely I think adults still worry about what other people think about them.
Some people are truthful with that, expressing their views, and other people are only going to tell you what they think you want to hear. I think so, I'm just looking at it from that standpoint of view. Not everyone is, in order to be accepted, it just depends, I think, what route you're going to take. If you go trying to say what people want to hear, I think in the long run it's just not going to work out, and then after a while you're not going to know what you believe in. I mean, you're lying to yourself and to the other people.
I think once you get older, then it becomes fitting in with people at work, or your family dynamics, or being who your parents or your brothers or sisters want you to be, and then who your kids want you to be. So I think fitting in happens all through life. It just changes perhaps what you're trying to fit into.
Industrialized Western cultures typically value individualism. They give more priority to self-reliance and personal well-being than to social identity. To collectivist cultures, social identity is very important. Therefore, they are somewhat quicker to prejudge people by their groups. In their culture, they explain it helps to know people's group identities.
I actually think that Americans are a lot more willing to accept new cultures just from the background that they have. My experience is that for the most part, most people are very welcoming in the U.S., but It is different if you're going to New York City, which is a big metropolis, that when you come to Ohio. Because Ohio is a smaller place, and not a lot of people have been exposed to people from other countries. In New York, everybody is from everywhere, so everybody is a foreigner, so to speak. In Spain, we don't have a lot of immigrants. And recently we've been getting a lot of immigrants, and people are not very accepting. And it's kind of funny because people from Spain used to immigrate a lot, especially when we had during the Civil War and right after the Civil War. So, but from my understanding, they're not very welcoming to foreigners.
Acceptance at times will overpower or take over our sense of self because we want to work so hard to fit in. And so sometimes we overcompensate by, trying to fit in so much with others that we lose our own identity. Or the reverse sometimes happens, that, we feel maybe not accepted, so then we start to really focus on our identity and really make a statement.
The idea of fitting in will always be with us throughout our lives. It's how we alter the definition as we grow up that ultimately decides how we feel we fit into society. From the start, we have always known that fitting in was about being who you are. Yet, it takes years to actually be comfortable with being yourself. As Charles de Lint once said, we're so quick to cut away pieces of ourselves to suit a particular relationship, a job, a circle of friends, incessantly editing who we are until we fit in.